Mayor, tonight we have another guest joining us this evening for this special episode ng Basta Dabawenyo, Pilipinas. Siya po ang ating former press secretary, isa sa mga maisog, Attorney Trixie Cruz Angeles.
Magandang gabi sa inyo lahat. Thank you for having me here.
Welcome back to Davao City, Attorney, and welcome to Basta Dabawenyo.
Maraming salamat at masaya na naman ang kwentuhan to.
Correct. Marami actually, Attorney, ang nag-comment kung kailan po kayo mag-guest. And finally, andito na po si Attorney Trixie and she'll share also some insights on the discussions tonight. Attorney, bago ang lahat, kamusta po kayo? How are you doing today?
Well, I'm fine so far. Hindi pa po nakukulong, pero okay pa.
Mayor, actually, si Attorney Trixie has been, this is your first time, Attorney, no, na makasama si Mayor Baste.
Yes, Mayor, yes.
So, simulan na natin, Attorney and Mayor, no? We have some issues to discuss, lalo na sa national politics natin, no, na nangyayari. And isa na nga dyan, itong pinag-uusapan pa din na enrolled bill at ang GAA 2025.
Yes,
this is actually an update doon sa final nila Attorney Vic Rodriguez together with other lawyers, no, questioning the validity of the GAA 2025. And last week, Attorney Vic Rodriguez posted on his social media account an update of what transpired during the preliminary conference sa Supreme Court.
Yes.
And he pointed out, he shared to us three things. Number one, based on the preliminary discussions, the oral arguments has been set April 1, 2, and 3 this year.
Yes,
And ito yung medyo interesting, ano, because the Supreme Court invited, is now inviting Congressman Stella Kimbo, the chair of the Committee on Appropriations, to the next hearing together with the Senate and House Technical Working Group. So ito yung pinag-usapan, Attorney and Mayor, no? I think,
Yes,
Attorney, sa'yo ko ibabato yung unang tanong. How important ito ngang presence ni Stella Kimbo at yung TWG sa susunod na hearing?
Lalong-lalo na pinapatawag sila after a preliminary conference. Ang preliminary conference, yan po ang nagsiset ng issues. Nakalagay na dyan. Tapos ilalatag nila kung sino yung mga witnesses. And the fact that the Supreme Court ang nagpapatawag sa Technical Working Group and kay Congresswoman Stella Kimbo, who is the head of, appropriations.
Correct.
This indicates that they will inquire into the very heart of the issue here, which is, where is the enrolled bill? Diba, yan ang pinakamalaking misteryo na nangyayari ngayon. Nasaan ang enrolled bill na yan? Ito ba ay nagre-reflect ng mga blanco na lumabas doon sa Bicameral Conference Committee report? So this should be exciting.
Marami nga ang nagsasabi, Attorney, na inaabangan nila yung magiging arguments ni Congressman Stella Kimbo.
Congresswoman Stella will not be allowed to argue.
Okay.
Tatanungin siya on factual matters. Kasi hindi siya counsel.
Okay.
So basically, ang role niya doon is to clarify the factual matters na dinidiscuss dito. The Supreme Court can only decide on matters of law. So pero in order to decide that, at kailangan nilang maliwanagan sa ibang mga issues, tatawagin nila yung mga, parang resource person / witnesses.
Correct. That's a very good point, Attorney, no? Because I think marami sa ating mga kababayan, lalo na sa social media, kasi nakita nga nila yung oral arguments nung sa PhilHealth. So they were all imagining na baka ganun ang magiging setup, which in this case, hindi. She will be, what you've said, a resource person.
Pagka nag-argue ka kasi, you're an advocate. You will take a stand.
Okay.
So yung sasabihin mo doon will be pursuant doon sa stand mo. Pero in this case, hindi sila allow to be, the questions will not be partisan. It will just be on the factual matters. So, for instance, the dates, where is the enrolled bill? Do you have a copy? Mga ganyan. So, i-expect natin baka magkatanungan tungkol sa Bicameral Conference Committee where I understand she was present.
Correct.
So, yung mga ganyan, this will also be revelatory to many of us. Natutuwa ako kasi yung Supreme Court oral arguments, parang parang it's a spectator sport sa Pilipinas. Ang saya. Which for me is, it's interesting kasi yung mga kababayan natin, interesado sila on how things work. Lalong-lalo na nakikita nila yung process ng legislation. Nakikita din nila kung ano yung role dito ng Korte Suprema pagdating sa pagsettle ng mga issues. Before kasi, madalas dahil nagbablog kami, yung mga katanungan sa amin, kailan ba papasok ang Supreme Court? So, kailangan natin i-explain na ang Korte Suprema, mahistrado yan. Yan ay nagdi-decide ng issues, kaya hindi silang pwedeng mahimasok dyan sa mga controversies until it is brought before them. So ngayon, pag nakikita nila yung ganitong klaseng oral argument, mas nagiging maliwanag yung constitutional mandate ng Korte Suprema.
Correct. Yes, Mayor, would you like to comment?
So she will be represented by somebody, si Stella Kimbo?
Normally, yes. Their counsel is the Solicitor General, who is the counsel for government. Pero dahil separately siya pinatawag, pwede naman siyang i-assist. Pero normally, the court is careful na hindi naman sila magtatanong on matters that might make them defensive. It's really just factual.
And you know what's really interesting here, Mayor and Attorney? For sure, this is not the first time na nagkaroon ng Supreme Court oral argument, in any case.
No.
But this is the only time na alam natin na talagang yung tao invested, inaabangan yung oral arguments. And that says a lot na talagang alam ng tao yung issue at sila also ay naghihintay ng sagot.
Lalong-lalo na kasi taxpayers' money. So, the budget ngayon ay nagiging mahalagang topic for discussion ng ordinaryong mamamayan na nakakaramdam na ng hirap ng buhay. Diba? Mataas ang presyo ng pagkain, tubig, kuryente, kulang ang healthcare, may PhilHealth cases pa tayo, kulang ang trabaho, patay sindi ang internet, nasa na yung mga promised na mga reforms, hindi natin nararamdaman. Plus, as you very well know, rising crime rate. So, a lot of it, maaaring tignan natin kasi na ang bunga nito, posibleng yung budget eh. Hindi lang itong 2025 budget ang kini-question sa Korte Suprema, pati yung 2024, bunga ng PhilHealth issue. Ang kini-question doon, yung provision na isiningit doon sa 2025 budget na nagsasabing pwedeng i-review ng mga GOCC at bawasan yung kanilang mga reserves. At yung binawas nila, yun po ang kinukuha ng Treasury. Yun yung sinabi nilang winawalis ni Secretary Ralph Recto. At yan po ang dinatanong sa Korte Suprema kung tama ba yung pagkuha ng pera na yon, lalo na in considering yung state ng healthcare dito sa Pilipinas.
Tama yung sinabi ni Attorney Trixie na kung ang budget is hindi properly allocated, then that would give you a government that cannot properly function well.
So, and ramdam na. So, hindi yung investment natin dito is the fact na bakit ang hirap ng buhay natin. Tapos nakikita mo ang daming pera na pinag-uusapan, nasa trillion, tapos na marami tayong nakikitang pinamimigay na ayuda, hindi siya na-appreciate eh. Kasi unang-una hindi naman lahat nakakatanggap. Pangalawa, yung mga ina-allocate na pinamimigay bilang ayuda is money na hindi pumupunta sa infrastructure, sa healthcare, jobs creation, mitigating yung crime rate natin, kuryente, tubig, maraming mga issues na hindi sinasagot. Di ba napansin niyo maraming natenga ng mga proyekto? So, invested tayo kasi halimbawa sa mga trains lang, alam nyo ba na in 2022 tumigil yung PNR?
Talaga ba?
Yung late 2022 kasi daw ginagawa ang North Rail. Pero imbis na ayusin siya para may mga portions lang na hindi tumatakbo, halos lahat pinatigil at 5 years siyang wala. Ang problema, ang trains natin is the cheapest form of mass transportation. 22 pesos lang from Manila to Laguna. So up to Los Baños. So paano ngayon? And in those 5 years, yung mga taong nagre-rely sa cheap transportation na yan will end up paying more than twice that just to get to work kung galing sila sa Laguna. So, hindi nila nararamdaman ang care ng gobyerno. Hindi nila nararamdaman kung ano yung epekto ng supposed actions dito sa pagsususpindi ng infrastructure projects natin. So natural magtatanong sila tungkol sa budget.
Tama. So, crucial yung sagot nila ngayon kasi gusto nating malaman kung saan napunta yung pera.
Kasi hindi natin nararamdaman, hindi sa atin ginastos eh. Gusto natin malaman, teka, saan yun nilagay? So, dyan talaga nag-uumpisa, dun sa budget, para makita din natin. Kasi merong sila talagang, in 2024, meron silang create na tinatawag na unprogrammed appropriations. Yun yung pinapadeclare na unconstitutional. Pero unprogrammed, pero appropriations. Hindi ba magkasalungat yung dalawang provision, yung dalawang salita na ganon? So, doon nila nilagay yung mga winalis nila galing sa GOCC. Pero the question din is, ano pang nilagay nyo dyan? Kasi halos 800 billion ang pinamigay na ayuda in 2024. Sa 2025 budget, meron silang at least 250 billion. Yun yung alam natin na inallocate. Hindi pa yan kasama yung mga hidden na, ano bang tawag dyan, mga hidden charges, kumbaga, na pinaghuhugutan nila. Alam natin na marami silang ginagastos. Hindi lang sa atin ginagastos.
Pero lahat ba yan, attorney, pag nagsimula na yung oral argument, mare-reveal ba ito kung yung mga katanungan natin? Like for example, about the unprogrammed funds? Or...
Yung sa unprogrammed, sa PhilHealth po na, so there are two budgetary issues used in two different cases. So yung sa 2025 budget, which pertains to the Bicameral Conference Committee report na may mga blanco, yung 2024, yung pagsingit nila ng unprogrammed appropriations in the 2024 budget, na ang tawag ng mga petitioners is a rider. Kasi pag gumagawa ka ng batas, one topic only. Yung rider na yon, nag-create siya ng pondo. Nag-create siya, tapos nag-allow siya ng pag-diminish ng reserve funds ng mga GOCCs. That should have been embodied in a separate law. Singit ito, rider, sinakay. And interesting, dun sa oral arguments ng PhilHealth, hindi po masagot ni Solgen Guevara kung rider ba yan o hindi. Ang sinabi lang niya, it's not a rider, pero hindi niya in-explain. So, mahirap naman talaga yung trabaho ni Solgen ngayon.
Gaya nga nung sinasabi mo na beyond politics, this is really a social issue ba? Ayun nga, kasi it's yun nga yung kahirapan, yung presyo ng kuryente, ng pagkain. Every year since the first time na pinag-usapan to hanggang ngayon, ilang taon nang lumipas, paakyat ng paakyat, hindi bumababa. Yet in fact, for the taxpayers who've been religiously doing their part and paying their taxes, tama ka doon, no? Wala, parang hindi mo ramdam na ano yung bumabalik talaga sa atin. And they've been boasting all these figures, billions of pesos. So yun nga, nasaan ang pera?
Yung administration naman ngayon, wala namang ibang plataforma kundi yung ayuda. Actually. They've been doing caravans, lumilibot, and they're not talking about anything other than ayuda.
Totoo.
Di ba?
Parang ang obsession, I think, is on 2025 and 2028 elections.
Sigurado.
So, yun nga, ang dami na ngang nagkukomento na yung ayuda parang legitimized form of vote buying.
Yeah. It's indirect vote buying, actually.
Correct. Marami na ngang issues on elections without the ayuda, na dagdagan pa yung iisipin natin. So, no wonder talaga na na to, spectator sport, para nang kulang na lang dito yung may cheering squad
Correct.
Pero we know na yung survival natin as a nation, economic survival natin, is hinged on these two major cases. And it hinges on what we call, ang taxes kasi, di ba, ang tawag sa kanya, the lifeblood of the nation. Yan yung nagpapatakbo Yan yung gasolina natin. Kung yun pa lang, hina-hijack na, hindi aandal to. At yan yung nararamdaman natin. When things break down, when we distrust government institutions, pag walang nangyayari, walang proyekto, tuloy ang traffic, ginugutom ang mga tao, nawala yung 100 million per month ng PGH, masakit yun. At yung natatamaan, lalong-lalo na in the PhilHealth cases, ang unang natatamaan ay the poorest of the poor, yung mga walang boses. They don't even have enough strength na to cry for help dahil ganon kasama ang kalagayan nila. At iyon dapat, any civilized society is judged based on its ability to care for the most helpless members.